I wake up to the sound of my alarm buzzing on the nightstand, a cheap little thing I've kept for years to match the image I've built. My name's Griffin Rowe, and for a decade now, my wife's family has treated me like some kind of punchline, a broke artist chasing a dream that never took off. I roll out of bed, grab the plain white shirt hanging in my closet, the one with frayed cuffs, and button it up slow, staring at myself in the mirror. My hair's a little messy, my face unshaven, just the way they expect me to look. I slip on my worn-out jeans, tug on my boots, and pick up the beat-up sketch pad I carry everywhere. It's all part of the act. They don't know the real me, not yet. They don't know I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, a company I started from nothing, now a powerhouse in animation that's about to shake their world to pieces. Today's the annual Halberd family reunion, and this time, it's not just another day of their snide comments and fake pity. This time, it's personal. I head downstairs, the old wooden steps creaking under my weight, and grab the keys to my rusty pickup truck. It's parked outside our modest house, the one Tessa and I bought years ago when we were still figuring things out. She's already gone, probably at her parents' estate helping set up. I climb into the truck, the engine groaning to life, and start the drive. The road stretches out ahead, lined with trees just starting to turn yellow, and I let my mind wander. 10 years ago, I married Tessa Halberd, the sharp, beautiful daughter of Walter Halberd, founder of Halberd Dynamics. Back then, I was just a guy with a pencil and a dream, sketching characters in notebooks while they build a fortune in digital tech. They never took me seriously, not her dad, not her stuck-up siblings, Corinne and Blake. To them, I was the dreamer who'd never amount to anything, the guy who'd drag Tessa down. I played along, kept my head low, let them laugh. But while they were busy looking down their noses, I was building something bigger than they could imagine. The truth is, Neon Canvas isn't just some little art gig. It's an empire, hundreds of employees, offices in 3 cities, and a reputation that's caught the eye of investors worldwide. I started it in a garage with a beat-up laptop and a stack of drawing pads, teaching myself code between sketches. Over the years, it grew quietly, steadily, into a leader in animation tech. And last week, we sealed the deal that changes everything. Neon Canvas acquired Halberd Dynamics. That's right, my father-in-law's company, the one he built from the ground up, the one he brags about at every family gathering, now belongs to me. It was a discreet move, all hush-hush until the contracts go public tomorrow. The board signed off, the lawyers dotted the I's, and Walter doesn't even know yet. None of them do. I grip the steering wheel tighter, a grin tugging at my lips as I picture their faces when they find out. I pull into the long driveway of the Halberd estate, gravel crunching under the tires. The house looms ahead, big, white, and perfect, with columns out front like something from a movie. Cars are already parked everywhere, shiny sedans and SUVs that cost more than my truck's worth in a lifetime. I cut the engine and sit there for a minute, taking it in. This is where it all happens every year, the reunion where they sip expensive wine, trade business stories, and take turns reminding me I don't belong. I grab my sketch pad off the passenger seat, the edges worn from years of pretending it's all I've got. It's my prop, my shield, the thing that keeps them comfortable in their smug little world. I step out, slam the door, and start walking toward the house. The air smells like cut grass and money, and I can already hear voices drifting from the backyard, laughter, clinking glasses, the hum of people who think they've got it all figured out. Tess is waiting for me at the front door, her arms crossed, her dark hair pulled back tight. She's wearing a blue dress that probably cost more than my whole wardrobe, and her eyes flick over me like she's checking for something out of place. "You're late," she says, her voice clipped. I shrug, holding up the sketch pad. Got caught up finishing a drawing, I lie, keeping it light. She doesn't smile, just turns and heads inside, expecting me to follow. I do, stepping into the foyer with its marble floors and chandelier that sparkles like it's mocking me. The noise gets louder as we move through the house, Corinne's sharp laugh, Blake's booming voice, Walter's low grumble. They're all here, the whole Halberd clan, ready to put on their show. I take a deep breath, adjust my grip on the sketch pad, and walk into the lion's den. They've got no idea what's coming, and I'm not about to tip my hand, not yet. For now, I'll play the part they've written for me. Griffin Rowe, the starving artist, the family joke. But tomorrow, they'll see the real picture, and it's going to be a masterpiece. The drive to the Halberd family reunion is a long one, about an hour out of town, and I'm glad for it today. It gives me time to think, to roll everything around in my head while the world blurs past the windows of my old pickup truck. My name's Griffin Rowe, and for years, I've let my wife's family, hell, even my wife, believe I'm just some guy doodling cartoons in a basement somewhere, scraping by on dreams that never paid off. The truck rattles as I hit a bump, the same rusty heap I've driven since college, and I can't help but smile a little. They'd never guessed that I could trade this thing in for something sleek and new any day I wanted. They don't know I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, a company I built from scratch into an animation giant. And they sure don't know that last week, I quietly bought out Halberd Dynamics, the crown jewel of my father-in-law's legacy. As the trees whip by and the road curves ahead, I let myself sink into the memory of how it all started, how I got here, and why this reunion feels like the edge of something big. Halberd Dynamics was everything to Walter Halberd, Tessa's dad. Back in the day, it was a titan, digital infrastructure, servers, cutting-edge tech that kept businesses running smooth. Walter built it with his own hands, or so he loves to tell everyone, and he passed that pride down to his kids like it was gold. Tessa, my wife, got the sharp mind and the cool confidence. Her sister Corinne got the attitude, and her brother Blake got the ambition, or at least the loudest mouth. Me? When I came into the picture, I was just the guy Tessa brought home one Thanksgiving, the one with paint on his jeans and a sketchbook under his arm. I just started studying animation back then, and I made the mistake of telling them about it over dinner. Corinne laughed so hard she nearly spit out her wine, her face turning red while Sterling, her fancy venture capitalist husband, smirked into his glass. Blake just shook his head like I'd said I wanted to be a clown. And Walter, big, gruff Walter, he gave me this look, like I was a stray dog Tessa dragged in off the street. Animation, he'd said, voice thick with pity. Well, good luck with that, son. I didn't argue. I didn't tell them I was also taking night classes in business, learning how to turn art into something real. I kept my mouth shut and let them think what they wanted. Tessa didn't push back either. She'd just sip her drink and change the subject, like she was embarrassed but too polite to say it. Over the years, that's how it went. They tossed their little jabs my way, Corinne calling me the cartoon boy, Blake offering me real jobs at Halberd like I was some charity case, Walter shaking his head every time I showed up with my sketch pad. I'd smile, nod, play along. But while they were busy laughing, I was working. Neon Canvas started small, just me, a laptop, and a dream in a garage that smelled like oil and dust. I'd sketch characters all day, then code all night, building software that turned drawings into motion. It wasn't easy. There were months I barely slept, years I barely ate anything that didn't come from a can. But it grew, first a couple freelancers, then a real team, then an office, then investors knocking on my door. I kept it quiet, used a pseudonym for the CEO title in public, let my COO Marcus handle the spotlight. To Tessa's family, I was still the same old Griffin, scraping by. The truth is, I didn't mind the disguise at first. It was almost funny, watching them strut around like they had me all figured out. But it got old, real old, after a while. Tessa started looking at me different, too, her patience thinning every time I dodged questions about money or work. She'd ask why we couldn't afford a bigger house, why I didn't just grow up and get a steady job like Blake or Sterling. I'd shrug, mumble something about art being my passion, and she'd sigh like I was a kid who wouldn't listen. I wanted to tell her the truth so many times, about the millions in Neon Canvas's accounts, about the deals I was signing behind her back. But I didn't. Not because I was scared, but because I wanted to see how far they'd take it. How long they'd keep treating me like dirt before I pulled the rug out. And then Halberd Dynamics came up for grabs. They'd hit rough waters, bad investments, a board that couldn't agree, and Neon Canvas swooped in. I saw the chance and took it. The acquisition was clean, quiet, locked up tight with NDAs until tomorrow's big reveal. Now, I own the company they built their whole identity on. The estate comes into view as I turn off the highway, the big white house sitting there like a king on a hill. I ease the truck down the gravel drive, the tires crunching loud enough to drown out the radio I forgot to turn off. My hands tighten on the wheel as I think about tonight. Corinne will probably start in on me the second I walk through the door, some crack about my clothes or my hobby. Blake a swagger over, all puffed up from his VP gig at Halberd, acting like he's doing me a favor just by talking to me. Walter will give me that same disappointed stare, like I'm a project he can't fix. And Tessa, she'll stand there, quiet, letting it happen like she always does. I park the truck between a BMW and a Lexus, the rust standing out like a sore thumb, and cut the engine. For a second, I just sit there, staring at the house, the lights glowing warm through the windows. They think they know me, Griffin Rowe, the loser artist, the guy who never made it. but they don't know a damn thing. I grab my sketch pad off the seat, step out into the cool evening air, and start walking. Tonight, I'll keep up the act one last time. Tomorrow, when the news breaks, they'll see what I've been hiding all along. And I can't wait to watch their perfect little illusion fall apart. I step through the front door of the Halbert estate, the air inside hitting me with that mix of expensive perfume and polish would you only get in a place like this. My name's Griffin Rowe, and tonight, I'm walking into the Lion's Den one last time as the guy they all think I am, the broke artist, the family joke. Tess is already a few steps ahead of me, her heels clicking sharp against the marble floor as she leads the way. She doesn't look back, just tosses a quick, "Come on," over her shoulder, her voice tight like she's already dreading what's coming. I adjust the sketch pad under my arm, the edges soft from years of handling, and follow her through the foyer. The chatter gets louder as we near the main room, laughter, glasses clinking, voices overlapping in that smug, carefree way rich people talk when they think they're untouchable. My cheap boots thud against the floor, out of place among the shine, and I brace myself. Here we go. Tessa stops at the edge of the room, turning to face me for a second. Her eyes flick over my shirt, my jeans, my unshaven jaw, and I can see it, the little when she tries to hide. "Try to mingle," she says, low enough that no one else hears, then she's gone, slipping into the crowd like she belongs there. I stand there, taking it all in. The place is packed. Walter's old business buddies, Curran's high society friends, Blake's tech crowd, all milling around with drinks in their hands, dressed in suits and dresses that scream money. The chandelier overhead sparkles, throwing light across the room, and there's a long table against the wall loaded with food I won't touch, fancy stuff I can't even pronounce. I'm not here for that. I'm here to play my part, to let them have their fun before the world shifts under their feet tomorrow morning. Because tomorrow, they'll find out I'm not just some guy with a pencil. I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, and I own Halbert Dynamics, their precious family empire. I spot Corinne first. She's over by the fireplace, her blonde hair pinned up, laughing loud with a glass of wine in her hand. Sterling's next to her, her husband, all slicked back hair and a suit that probably cost more than my truck. He catches my eye as I step closer, and his lip curls just enough to notice, his gaze dropping to my boots like they're an insult. "Well, look who's here," Corinne says, turning toward me, her voice cutting through the noise like a knife. "Griffin, still drawing cartoons, huh? Tell me, have you thought about doing birthday parties yet? You'd be a hit with the kids." She laughs, sharp and mean, and a couple people nearby chuckle along. Sterling smirks, sipping his drink, and I feel the heat creeping up my neck. It's the same old line, the one she's been tossing at me for years, and it still stings. I force a smile, shrugging like it doesn't bother me. "Maybe one day," I say, keeping my tone light. "Pays better than you'd think." She snorts, rolling her eyes, and turns back to Sterling like I'm not worth another second. I move away, weaving through the crowd, my sketch pad tucked tight against my side. The laughter follows me, a low burn in my chest, but I keep my head up. Blake's next. He's holding court near the bar, his broad shoulders squared like he owns the place. He's got a whiskey in one hand, gesturing big with the other, talking to some guy in a tie about Halbert's latest projects. He's VP of Product now, a title he loves throwing around, and when he sees me, his grin turns sharp. "Griff," he calls, loud enough to turn heads. "Good to see you, man. Still got that sketchbook, huh? You know, if you ever want a real job, I could hook you up at Halbert. Something entry-level, get you started." His tone's all fake generosity, like he's doing me a favor, and the guy next to him nods like it's a great idea. I laugh, short and dry. "Appreciate it, Blake," I say, patting the sketch pad. "But I'm good for now." He shrugs, like I'm a lost cause, and goes back to his story. I can feel his dismissal like a slap, but I don't push back, not yet. Tess is over by the window, a champagne flute in her hand, talking to some woman I don't recognize. She doesn't look my way, just keeps nodding along, her face calm and distant. I watch her for a second, wondering what she's thinking. She's never been as loud about it as the others, but she's never stopped them either. Every time Corinne cracks a joke or Blake offers me a pity job, she just stands there, sipping her drink, letting it happen. It used to hurt more, back when I thought she'd see through the act, see me for what I was building. But she didn't. None of them did. They've spent 10 years pecking at me like vultures, tearing off little pieces, and she's let them. I turn away, my jaw tight, and head toward the back of the room. I need air, but I'm not leaving, not until I face them all. Walter's the last one I run into. He's standing near the patio doors, his gray hair slicked back. a scotch in his hand. He's talking to an older guy, some board member, probably, when he spots me. His eyes narrow, and he excuses himself, walking over with that slow, heavy stride he's got. "Griffin," he says, his voice low and gruff, like he's already tired of me. "Good to see you showed up." He looks me over, taking in the shirt, the jeans, the sketch pad, and shakes his head just a little. "You holding up okay?" "Tessa says you're still at it with the art thing." "It's not a question, it's a judgment." I nod, keeping my face neutral. "Yeah, still at it," I say. He grunts, sipping his scotch, and I can feel the weight of his pity pressing down. "Well, hang in there," he says, clapping my shoulder like I'm a kid who needs cheering up. "Something will come along eventually." He walks off, back to his friend, and I'm left standing there, my hands curling into fists. The room feels smaller now, the voice is louder, the laughter sharper. They don't see me, not the real me. To them, I'm just cartoon boy, the guy who married into their family and never measured up. Curran's cackle, Blake's swagger, Walter's pity, it's all noise, all fuel. I glance at Tessa again, still by the window, still silent, and something twists in my chest. Tomorrow, when the news hits, when they find out Neon Canvas owns Halberd Dynamics, when they realize Griffin Rowe's been pulling the strings, they won't be laughing. They'll be scrambling, choking on their own words, and I'll be standing there, watching it all come down. For now, I take a deep breath, loosen my grip on the sketch pad, and move back into the crowd. One more night of this. One more night of their storm. Then I bring mine. I'm standing in the middle of the Halberd Estate's grand living room, the buzz of the reunion swirling around me like a swarm of bees, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm a ghost drifting through their world. My name's Griffin Rowe, and tonight, I'm still the guy they all laugh at. The artist with the beat-up sketchpad, the one they think hasn't made a dime in 10 years. I've got the sketchpad tucked under my arm, my shield against their jabs, and I move through the crowd slow, keeping my answers short and my smile easy. They don't know what's coming tomorrow, don't know I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, don't know I've just bought Halberd Dynamics right out from under them. For now, I'm just playing the part, letting them think they've got me pegged, while I watch their whole game like it's a show I've already seen the ending to. The air's thick with the smell of wine and cologne, and I catch snippets of conversation as I drift from group to group. Some guy in a suit's talking about stocks, a woman in pearls is complaining about her vacation house, and over by the bar, Sterling, Curran's husband, is holding court like he's some kind of king. He spots me as I get closer, his eyes narrowing over the rim of his martini glass. "Griffin," he says, his voice smooth and sharp, like a blade wrapped in silk. "Good to see you, man. Still chasing that art dream, huh?" He doesn't wait for an answer, just keeps going. "You know, I mentor this startup accelerator, tech stuff, real cutting edge. I could connect you, get you in front of some people. Might be a chance to do something substantial." His smile's all teeth, like he's offering me a lifeline out of pity, and the guys around him nod like it's the best idea they've heard all night. I laugh, just a little, scratching the back of my neck. "Thanks, Sterling," I say, keeping it light. "I'll think about it." He shrugs, like he's done his good deed, and turns back to his crowd. I walk off, my stomach twisting. Substantial, like he's got any clue what I've built. I head toward the patio doors, needing a break from the noise, when Curran's teenage son, Ethan, steps in front of me. He's got her blonde hair and her smirk, all lanky arms and attitude. "Hey, Uncle Griff," he says, loud enough to draw a few looks. "You still unemployed or what? Mom says you just draw all day." He snickers, glancing around like he's waiting for a laugh track. I force a grin, tapping the sketch. "Something like that," I say. "Keeps me busy." He rolls his eyes, mutters, whatever, and wanders off, probably to go bother someone else. It's a small hit, but it lands, unemployed. That's what they all think, what they've always thought. I clench my jaw and keep moving, the chatter fading a little as I step closer to the glass doors. Outside, the night's cool and dark, the lawn stretching out under strings of lights, but I don't go out yet. I'm not done here. Blake's voice pulls me back. He's over by the buffet now, a plate in one hand, gesturing big with the other while a couple of Halberd execs hang on his every word. I drift closer, catching the tail end of it. And with this digital pivot, we're taking Halberd into animation, training modules, educational stuff, the works. It's the future, man. We're about to own that space. He laughs, loud and cocky, and takes a swig of his drink. I nearly choke on the water I grabbed off a tray, my chest tightening as the words sink in. Animation. They're moving into my world, Neon Canvas's world, without even knowing it's mine. I cover it with a cough, turning away quick so he doesn't see my face, but my mind's racing. This is why I bought Halberd Dynamics. They were sniffing around our territory, stumbling into a game they didn't even know we'd already won. The acquisition wasn't just revenge, it was strategy. Neon Canvas has been perfecting animation tech for years, and now, with Halberd's infrastructure, we're untouchable. Blake's got no idea he's bragging about a plan that's already dead. I lean against the wall, pretending to flip through my sketchpad, letting the room spin around me. The irony's so thick I could choke on it. They're all so sure of themselves, Sterling with his startups, Ethan with his teenage snark, Blake with his big talk. They think they're on top, that I'm just some nobody drifting through their orbit. I glance across the room at Tessa, still by the window with her champagne. She's laughing at something now, her head tilted back, and for a second, I wonder what she'd say if she knew. Would she laugh like that at me, or would she finally see? I shake it off, pushing the thought down. She's part of this, part of them, and I've kept my secret too long to crack now. Tomorrow, when the press release hits, when the board gets the memo, they'll all find out at once. Griffin Rowe isn't just the guy with the sketchpad. He's the one who owns their future. I move again, circling back toward the fireplace, keeping my head low. People brush past me, their voices a hum, and I catch more of the same pity, smirks, little digs wrapped in polite smiles. "Oh, you're Tessa's husband, right?" "The artist," one woman says, her tone dripping with fake interest. I nod, mutter something about still working on it, and slip away before she can ask more. It's exhausting, this dance, pretending, dodging, letting them think they're better. But it's almost over. I can feel it building, like smoke curling up before a fire catches. The contracts are signed, the deal's locked, and by 9 a.m. tomorrow, the world will know Neon Canvas took Halberd Dynamics. I'll walk into that boardroom, not as the guy they pity, but as the one who outplayed them all. I end up near the bar again, grabbing another water just to have something to do with my hands. Sterling's still there, talking louder now, and Blake's joined him, the two of them laughing about something I don't catch. Curran's voice cuts through from somewhere behind me, that same cackle, and I hear Walter's low rumble near the patio. They're all here, all in their element, and I'm the odd man out, like always. But not for long. I take a sip, the cold biting my throat, and let my eyes drift over the room one more time. This is their night, their last night thinking they've got it all figured out. Tomorrow, the mirrors crack, the smoke clears, and they'll see me standing there, holding the pieces. I set the glass down, adjust my grip on the sketchpad, and head for the patio. I need a minute to breathe before I face the rest of this. One more round of their game, then it's mine. I'm standing near the fireplace in the Halberd estate, the heat from the flames licking at my back while the room hums with the kind of noise only a family like this can make. Laughter, clinking glasses, and voices that carry too much confidence. My name's Griffin Rowe, and tonight's the last night I let them see me as the guy they've mocked for a decade, the starving artist with nothing to show for it but a sketchpad and a rusty truck. I've got that sketchpad in my hands now, flipping through it like it's some kind of lifeline. But really, it's just a prop to keep them comfortable. They don't know I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, don't know I've spent 10 years building an empire that just swallowed Halberd Dynamics whole. Tomorrow, the news breaks, and their world flips upside down. But tonight, I've got one more round of their crap to get through, and it's about to hit harder than ever. The fire crackles behind me, popping loud enough to pull me out of my thoughts, and I turn just as Walter Halberd steps up, his shadow falling over me like a storm cloud. He's got a scotch in one hand, his gray hair slicked back, and that look on his face, the one that says he's already decided I'm a lost cause. "Griffin," he says, his voice gravelly and slow, like he's talking to a kid who wandered in off the street. "Didn't see you sneak over here. You holding up all right?" He doesn't wait for me to answer, just keeps going, sipping his drink like it's punctuation. "Tessa was telling me you're still plugging away at that art stuff. Tough road, huh?" I nod, keeping my face blank, my fingers tightening on the sketchpad. "Yeah, it's a grind," I say, low and even. He grunts, swirling the ice in his glass, and leans in a little closer, like he's about to drop some big wisdom. "Look," he says, lowering his voice like it's a favor. "I've been thinking. Halberd's moving into new territory soon, media, animation, that kind of thing. Once we get it rolling, I could get you something. Nothing fancy, low skill, low pay, just some art gig in the division. Steady paycheck, benefits, you know. Might be good for you, and Tessa." He claps my shoulder, his hand heavy, and gives me this half smile, like he's tossing me a bone. My blood starts simmering, hot and slow, creeping up my chest. Low skill, low pay. Like I'm some charity case he's graciously pulling out of the gutter. I want to laugh in his face, tell him I don't need his scraps. I own his damn company. But I don't. I bite it back, force a nod, and mutter, "Thanks, Walter. I'll think about it." He nods, satisfied, and walks off, his boots thudding against the floor like he's just fixed something. I stand there, staring at the fire, the heat prickling my skin while my mind races. That was it, the last straw. 10 years of their digs, their pity, their smug little offers, and now this. Walter Halbert, the great man himself, thinking he's doing me a favor with some entry-level job in a company I already control. I glance around the room, the chatter blurring into a dull roar. Curran's over by the bar, laughing with Sterling, her voice slicing through the air. Blake's still swaggering near the buffet, tossing out big words about Halbert's future. And Tessa, she's across the room, leaning against the window with her champagne, watching me now. Our eyes meet for a second, and she tilts her head, like she's trying to figure out what's wrong. Then she walks over, her dress swishing soft against her legs, and stops in front of me. "You okay?" she asks, her voice quiet but edged with something, worry, maybe, or just impatience. I shrug, flipping the sketchpad shut. "Yeah, fine. Just talking to your dad." She frowns, sipping her drink, and glances over at Walter, who's back with his bored buddies now. "What did he say?" she asks, and I can tell she's bracing herself. I hesitate, then let it out, keeping my tone flat. "Offered me a job. Low skill, low pay, in the new media thing. Said it'd be good for us." Her eyes widen just a fraction, then she looks down at her glass, swirling the champagne like it's suddenly real interesting. "That's generous of him," she says, slow and careful. "You should be grateful, Griff." It's a start. My jaw locks, and I feel that simmer turn into a boil. Grateful. She thinks I should be grateful for a pity handout from a man I've outmaneuvered. I stare at her, waiting for her to look up, but she doesn't. She just takes another sip and turns away, heading back to her spot by the window. That's when it hits me hard. She's one of them. Always has been. I've spent years hoping she'd see past their crap, see me for what I was building, but she never did. She's standing there, sipping her drink, letting her dad talk to me like I'm nothing, and she thinks I should thank him for it. My hands curl into fists, the sketchpad creaking under my grip, and I have to fight the urge to spill it all right now, right here in this overstuffed room with its fancy lights and fake smiles. I could tell them everything. How neon canvas grew from a garage to a giant, how I studied business while they laughed, how I signed the papers last week that put Halbert Dynamics in my pocket. I could watch their faces drop, watch Walter choke on his scotch, watch Tessa realize she's been blind. But I don't. I take a deep breath, let it out slow, and unclench my hands. Not yet. Tomorrow's the day, 9 a.m., when the contracts go public, when the board gets the news, when the press release hits every screen from here to New York. I've got it all lined up. The signatures, the announcement, the proof that Griffin Rowe isn't the loser they think. I can see it now. Curran's mouth flapping shut, Blake scrambling through the paperwork, Walter's red face as he realizes he's lost his empire to the guy he pitted. And Tessa, I don't know what she'll do, but she'll have to face it. I've kept this secret for 10 years, played their game, taken their hits, and now it's my turn. I glance at the clock on the wall. 10:47 p.m., less than 12 hours to go. The fire's still crackling, the room's still buzzing, but it feels different now, like the air's heavier, waiting. I step away from the fireplace, moving toward the patio doors again. I need to clear my head, get out of this heat for a minute. The voices fade as I push the glass open and step outside. The cool night air hitting my face like a slap. The lawn's quiet, the lights strung up overhead swaying a little in the breeze. I lean against the railing, the sketchpad resting beside me, and look out at the dark. One more night of this. One more night of their condescension, their ignorance. Then it's over. I've got the power now, and they don't even know it's slipped through their fingers. Tomorrow, I stop pretending. Tomorrow, I show them who I really am. And they won't see it coming until it's too late. I wake up the next morning with a knot in my stomach, the kind that's been building for years but feels sharper now, tighter, like it's finally ready to snap. My name's Griffin Rowe, and today's the day everything changes. The day I stop being the guy Tessa's family laughs at and start being the one they can't ignore. I roll out of bed, the cheap sheets tangling around my legs, and glance at the clock. 7:15 a.m., less than 2 hours until the news breaks. Until the world finds out I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios and that I've taken Halberd Dynamics right out of their hands. I don't bother with the old shirt and jeans today. Instead, I pull a crisp charcoal suit from the back of my closet. One I designed the cufflinks for myself, little silver pins that catch the light just right. I shave, comb my hair, and look in the mirror. This isn't the Griffin they know. This is the real me, and I'm ready to walk into that boardroom and watch their jaws hit the floor. The drive to Halberd's headquarters is quiet, the city waking up slow around me. I'm in my truck still, didn't want to tip my hand too early with a fancy car, but my mind's already at the meeting. Last night at the reunion, I took their hits one last time. Curran's cackle, Blake's swagger, Walter's pity, Tessa's silence. I kept my mouth shut, played the part, but today's different. The contracts went public at 9 a.m., the press release is live, and the board's been called in for an emergency session. They don't know who's behind it yet, not fully. Neon Canvas kept my name out of the headlines until now, letting Marcus, my COO, handle the public face. But that ends this morning. I pull into the parking lot, the big glass building looming ahead, and step out, straightening my tie. My sketch pad's gone. Left it at home. I don't need it anymore. I walk through the lobby, my shoes clicking against the polished floor, and the receptionist gives me a double take. "Mr. Rowe," she says, her voice uncertain, like she's not sure it's me. I nod, flash a small smile. "Here for the board meeting," I say, and she scrambles to buzz me through. The elevator rides quick, the hum of it steadying my pulse, and when the doors open, I step out onto the executive floor. The boardroom's down the hall, all glass walls and sleek furniture, and I can see them already: Walter, Blake, Tessa, a dozen suits I barely know, huddled around the long table, voices sharp and urgent. I take a breath, push the door open, and walk in. The room goes quiet, every head turning my way, and I feel the weight of their stares like a spotlight. Walter's at the head of the table, his face already red, a stack of papers in front of him. Blake's next to him, flipping through the acquisition docs like he can undo them with his hands. Tessa's on the other side, her eyes wide, her champagne calm from last night nowhere to be found. Curran's there too, perched near the window, her mouth half open like she's mid-sentence. The rest of the board, gray-haired men in ties, murmur to each other, glancing from me to the papers and back. I don't wait for them to figure it out. I step to the front, set my briefcase down, and look them all in the eye. "Morning," I say, my voice steady, louder than they've ever heard it. There's been a change in ownership. As of 9 a.m. today, Halberd Dynamics belongs to Neon Canvas Studios. And I'm here to introduce myself properly. I'm Griffin Rowe, CEO of Neon Canvas. The silence is thick, heavy, like the air's been sucked out of the room. Walter's glass stops halfway to his mouth, his knuckles white around it. Blake freezes, the papers slipping from his fingers. Tessa blinks, her head tilting like she's trying to rewind the last 10 seconds. Curran's mouth snaps shut, then opens again, but nothing comes out, just a little gasp, like a fish flopping on the dock. I let it sink in, watching their faces shift from shock to disbelief to something else. Anger, maybe, or fear. I pull the signed contracts from my briefcase, thick stacks of paper with my name all over them, and drop them on the table with a thud. "It's all here," I say, tapping the top. "Legal, binding, done. Neon Canvas acquired Halberd last week. I've been planning this for a while." Blake's the first to move, snatching the contracts up and flipping through them again, his hands shaking. This can't be right," he stammers, his voice cracking. "Neon Canvas? The animation company? You're saying you..." He stops, looks up at me, his eyes wild. "You're the CEO?" I nod, leaning back against the table, crossing my arms. "That's right. Been running it for 10 years. Built it from nothing while you were all busy laughing at me." Walter slams his glass down, the scotch sloshing over the edge, and stands up, his chair scraping loud against the floor. "What the hell is this, Griffin?" he growls, his face a deep, furious red. "You don't just waltz in here," and I cut him off, calm but firm. "I didn't waltz in, Walter. I bought it. Fair and square. Your board signed off. Check the signatures." He grabs the papers from Blake, his hands trembling as he scans the pages, and I can see the moment it hits him. The names, the dates, the deal he didn't see coming. Corinne finally finds her voice, her words spilling out shrill and fast. You own this." "What? How, Griffin? You've been drawing cartoons." She laughs, but it's shaky, desperate, and I turn to her, my smile cold. Still drawing cartoons? I say, echoing her jab from last night. Apparently very well. Well enough to buy your dad's company. Her face goes pale, her wine glass trembling in her hand, and she sinks back into her chair like the air's gone out of her. Tessa's still staring at me, her lips parted, her fingers tight around the edge of the table. Griff, she whispers, barely audible. Is this real? I meet her eyes, and for a second, I feel something twist, regret, maybe, or just the weight of all the years I kept this from her. Yeah, I say, softer than I mean to. It's real. She looks away, down at the table, and I can't tell what she's thinking. Shock, betrayal, something else. The board starts muttering again, chairs shifting, voices rising, but I don't flinch. I've waited too long for this. Neon canvas is taking Halberd into the future. I say, loud enough to pull their attention back. Animation, tech, infrastructure, all of it. You'll hear more soon. For now, just know it's done. Walter slumps back into his seat, his fight draining out, and Blake tosses the papers down like they're burning him. Corinne's still gaping, Tessa's still silent, and the room feels like it's spinning around me. I pick up my briefcase, give them one last look, and head for the door. See you around, I say, and walk out, the sound of their stunned silence following me down the hall. I did it. I dropped the bomb, and now they know. Griffin Rowe isn't their punchline anymore. He's the one holding the reins. I step out of the Halberd boardroom, the heavy glass door swinging shut behind me, and the echo of their silence follows me down the hall like a shadow. My name's Griffin Rowe, and I just turned their world upside down. I told them I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, the guy who's been pulling strings they didn't even know existed, and that I now own Halberd Dynamics, the company they built their whole lives around. My suit feels crisp against my skin, the cufflinks glinting as I adjust my tie, and my heart's still pounding from the looks on their faces, Walter's red fury, Blake's disbelief, Corinne's fish-like gasp, Tessa's quiet shock. I keep walking, my shoes clicking steady against the polished floor, and I don't look back. The acquisition's real, the papers are signed, and there's no undoing it now. This is my moment, 10 years in the making, and I'm not done yet. The elevator dings, and I step inside, the doors closing with a soft thud. For a second, it's just me and the hum of the machinery, and I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. It's done, really done. Walter's not the king anymore. He's an advisor now, whether he likes it or not, stuck reporting to me. Blake's been knocked down a peg, demoted to some middle management role he'll hate, his VP swagger gone. Corinne didn't even get a seat at the table. Her name's nowhere in the new org chart, and I can already hear her whining about it. Sterling tried to corner me before I left, all fast talk and fake smiles, pitching some strategic partnership, like he could worm his way in. I shut him down with a look and kept moving. He stormed off, muttering something about lawyers. Good luck with that. The deal's ironclad, and I've got the best legal team money can buy. This isn't their game anymore, it's mine. The elevator opens to the lobby, and I stride out, nodding at the receptionist who's still staring like she's seen a ghost. Outside, the morning air hits me, cool and sharp, and I climb into my truck, the old rust bucket feeling strange now under this new skin I'm wearing. I could have driven something flashier today, God knows I've got the cash, but I wanted them to see me roll up as the Griffin they knew, only to walk out as the one they didn't. I start the engine, the familiar rumble kicking in, and head back toward the city. My phone's buzzing in my pocket, texts, calls, probably Marcus checking in, but I ignore it for now. I need a minute to let this settle, to feel the weight of what just happened. I've spent a decade hiding, playing their fool, and now the mask is off. It's liberating, sure, but it's heavy too, like I've been carrying a boulder and finally dropped it, only to realize my hands are still shaking. I catch a glimpse of myself in the rearview mirror, the suit sharp, my eyes tired but alive. Tessa's face keeps flashing in my head, those wide eyes, that whisper, is this real? I don't know what she's feeling right now, and that's the part that gnaws at me. She was there, right beside Walter, when I laid it all out, and she didn't say much, just stared, like she was seeing me for the first time. I want to talk to her, to explain, but the room was too charged, too raw. As I left, I caught her looking at me, and I gave her a nod, just a small one, unsure what's left between us. She whispered something back, you planned this. And I nodded again. 10 years in the making, I said, and that was it. No time for more, not with Walter shouting and Blake scrambling. Now, driving away, I wonder what she's doing, what she's thinking. Is she mad? Hurt? Proud? I don't know, and it's eating at me. The truck rolls to a stop at a light, and I lean back, rubbing my face. Walter's voice echoes in my head. The last thing he said as I walked out, "You played us." It wasn't a question, just a growl, raw and bitter, like I'd stabbed him in the back. I turned around, met his glare, and said, "No, you underestimated me." That shut him up, left him standing there with his scotch and his pride in pieces. He's right about one thing. I did play them, in a way. I let them think I was nothing, let them build their little tower of superiority while I dug the ground out from under it. But it wasn't a game to me. It was survival, freedom from their condescension, their pity, their constant need to remind me I didn't belong. I didn't do it to hurt them, not really. I did it to prove I could, to take what I'd earned while they were too busy laughing to notice. The light turns green, and I keep driving, the city sliding past in a blur of glass and steel. My mind's already shifting to what's next, the transition. Halbert's mine now, but it's not about tearing it down. Neon Canvas is going to use it, merge their infrastructure with our tech, build something bigger than either company could have been alone. Animation's just the start, training tools, educational platforms, maybe even medical visuals. The possibilities are endless, and I've got a team ready to make it happen. But that's tomorrow's work. Today's about this, about standing in that room, dropping the truth, and walking away with their stunned faces burned into my memory. I can still see Corinne's gasp, Blake's hand shaking, Walter's red cheeks. It's a picture I'll carry forever, a masterpiece I painted with 10 years of patience. I pull into the parking garage at Neon Canvas's building, my real office, the one they've never seen, and cut the engine. My phone buzzes again, and this time I check it. A text from Tessa. "We need to talk." Just that, nothing else. My chest tightens, but I don't reply, not yet. I need to process this first, need to breathe. I step out, lock the truck, and head inside. The lobby's sleek, all white walls and modern art. My art, sketches I turned into prints years ago. The security guy nods at me, and I take the elevator up to the top floor. When the doors open, Marcus is there, grinning like a kid on Christmas. "You did it, boss," he says, clapping me on the shoulder. They're losing their minds out there. 2,000 job apps already, investors blowing up my phone. I smile, but it's small, tired. "Good," I say. "Let's keep it moving." I walk to my office, the big windows looking out over the city, and sit down at my desk. The weight's still there, but it's shifting, less a burden now, more a fuel. Tessa's text sits unanswered, Walter's growl lingers, and the future stretches out ahead. The transition's just beginning, and I'm ready for it. They underestimated me once. They won't again. I'm sitting in my office at the top of the Canvas building, the city sprawling out below me through the big windows, and for the first time in hours, I let myself breathe. My name's Griffin Rowe, and today, I stopped being the guy Tessa's family pitted, the broke artist with a sketch pad, and became the one they can't deny. The CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, the man who just took Halberd Dynamics right out from under them. The charcoal suit's still on, the cufflinks catching the late morning light, and my desk is already piling up with papers, contracts, emails, notes from Marcus about the next steps. The boardroom reveal was just a couple hours ago, but it feels like a lifetime, their faces still sharp in my mind. Walter's fury, Blake's panic, Corinne's shock, Tessa's silence. I lean back in my chair, the leather creaking under me, and close my eyes for a second. It's done. 10 years of hiding, of building, of taking their crap, and now it's mine. The office door swings open, and Marcus strides in, his grin wide enough to split his face. "You should have seen the news feeds, Griff," he says, dropping into the chair across from me. "Twitter's a mess, half the tech world's cheering, the other half scrambling to figure out who you are. And the applications, over 2,000 already, just from the announcement. People want in." He laughs, shaking his head, and I can't help but smile a little. Marcus has been with me since the early days, back when Neon Canvas was just me and a laptop in a garage. He's the COO, the guy who's handled the public face while I stayed in the shadows, and he's loving this as much as I am. "Investors are calling too," he adds, tossing a stack of messages onto the desk. "Big names. They're smelling blood in the water now that Halberd's ours." I nod, picking up one of the notes. Some hedge fund guy I've never heard of. "Good," I say, keeping it short. "Set up meetings for next week. Let's keep the momentum." He leans forward, his eyes glinting. "You okay, though? That was a hell of a move in there. Dropping it on them like that. I wish I'd seen their faces." I laugh, dry and quiet. rubbing the back of my neck. Yeah, it was something. Walter looked like he was going to burst a vein. Blake couldn't even hold the paper straight. And Corinne, she just gaped, like a fish out of water. Marcus chuckles, but I don't join in this time. My mind's drifting back to Tessa, to that whisper, "You planned this?" And the way she looked at me, like I was a stranger. I shake it off, focusing on Marcus. It's not about revenge, I say, more to myself than him. It's about what comes next. He nods, serious now. So what's the play? Halberd's ours. Where do we take it? I stand up, walking to the window, hands in my pockets. The city's alive down there. Cars crawling, people moving, a whole world that doesn't know what's coming. We use it, I say, turning back to him. Halberd's got the infrastructure, servers, networks, all that digital backbone. Neon Canvas has the vision, animation, training tools, educational platforms, medical visuals. We merge them, build something no one else can touch. Marcus grins again, nodding fast. That's the Griff I know. Always 10 steps ahead. I'll get the team on it, start mapping out the integration. He heads out, leaving me alone again, and I sit back down, staring at the skyline. This is why I did it. Not just to prove them wrong, but to break free, to build something real. Their condescension was the push, but this is the point. The office is quiet now, just the hum of the air conditioning and the faint buzz of my phone on the desk. I pick it up, and there's Tessa's text again. We need to talk. It's been sitting there since I got back, unanswered, and my thumb hovers over the screen. I don't know what to say, not yet. Part of me wants to call her, spill everything right now. How it felt to hide this. How their jabs cut deeper than she ever knew. How I built Neon Canvas to escape the box they shoved me in. But I don't. I set the phone down, lean back, and let my mind settle. The team's already moving. Cheers echoed down the hall when I walked in. Engineers high-fiving. Designers clapping me on the back. They've known me as the boss for years, but today, they saw what it meant. We're not just an animation studio anymore. We're a force. I get up again, wandering over to the wall where my sketches hang, old drawings from the garage days, characters I dreamed up when I was still pretending for Tessa's family. They're framed now, clean lines and bold colors, a reminder of where it started. I touch one, a little robot I sketched after Corinne's cartoon boy, jab, and smile. That's what they never got. Art isn't just doodles. It's power, vision, a way to shape the world. Neon Canvas turned that into tech, into millions, into this office with my name on the door. And now, with Halberd's resources, we're going bigger, training programs for companies, interactive lessons for schools, maybe even tools for doctors to visualize surgeries. It's not revenge driving me anymore. It's freedom from their judgment, from hiding who I am. This is my canvas now, and I'm painting it my way. My phone buzzes again, pulling me back, and I glance at it. Another text from Tessa. Please, Griff. 2 words, simple, but they hit hard. I can feel the crack in them, the weight of whatever she's holding. I sit down, staring at the screen, and my chest tightens. I didn't do this to hurt her, not really, but I kept her in the dark too, let her believe the lie because it was easier than fighting her family's tide. Now she's reaching out, and I owe her something, an explanation, a chance to see me like she never has. I type back, slow, tonight. My office. 7. I hit send, set the phone down, and lean forward, elbows on the desk. The day's not over yet, not for them, not for us. Outside, the team's still buzzing, laughter, keyboards clacking, the sound of something new taking shape. Marcus pokes his head in again, holding a coffee. You good, boss? He asks, and I nod, taking the cup. Yeah, just thinking. He grins, ducks out, and I sip the coffee, letting the warmth sink in. The press is probably still churning, Walter's probably still fuming, and Tessa's probably sitting somewhere, trying to piece me together. But here, behind the canvas, I'm steady. This is my space, my empire, and I build it brick by brick while they look the other way. Tonight, I'll face her. Tomorrow, we push forward. For now, I drink my coffee, watch the city, and let the victory settle. It's not about them anymore. It's about what I make next. I'm sitting at my desk in the canvas building, the late afternoon sun slanting through the big windows, painting the room in gold and shadow. My name's Griffin Rowe, and today's been a whirlwind. Hours ago, I walked into the Halberd boardroom and told them I'm the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios, the guy who's taken their precious Halberd dynamics right out from under them. The suit's still on, a little wrinkled now, and the cufflinks I designed glint as I tap my fingers on the desk. My phone's quiet since I texted Tessa back tonight. My office. 7. And I've been trying to keep busy, going over plans with Marcus, signing off on emails, anything to stop my mind from spinning. But now, it's just me and the clock, ticking closer to when she'll walk through that door. I've spent 10 years hiding this life from her, from all of them, and tonight, I've got to face what that means for us, for me, for everything. The office is still, the hum of the team fading as people start heading home. I get up, walk to the window, and look out at the city, lights flickering on, streets buzzing below. This place is mine, every inch of it built from scratch, from those garage days when I was just a guy with a pencil and a dream they laughed at. I can still hear Corinne's cackle, Blake's fake offers, Walter's pity, 10 years of it, piling up like bricks I turned into this tower. But Tessa, she's the one I can't shake. She was there this morning in that boardroom, her eyes wide and lost when I dropped the truth. You planned this. She'd whispered, and I'd nodded, said it was 10 years in the making. Then I walked out, left her with her family's chaos, and now she's coming here. I don't know what she wants, to yell, to cry, to understand, but I owe her this much. I've kept her in the dark too long. The clock hits 6:55, and I hear the elevator ding down the hall. My stomach twists, sharp and quick, and I turn from the window, straightening my tie like it'll steady me. Footsteps, soft, deliberate, echo closer, and then she's there, standing in the doorway. Tessa. Her dark hair's loose now, spilling over her shoulders, and she's in a simple black coat, her hands tucked into the pockets. Her eyes sweep the room, the art on the walls, my sketches framed in clean lines, the engineers still tinkering in the corner, the view of the city behind me. She steps inside, slow, like she's walking into a stranger's house, and stops a few feet from the desk. "Griff," she says, her voice low, rough around the edges. "You lied. It's not a question, it's a cut, sharp and deep, and I feel it land." I sit down, motioning to the chair across from me. "No," I say, keeping my tone even. "I didn't lie. You never asked." She doesn't sit, just stands there, her arms crossing tight over her chest. "Never asked," she repeats, her voice rising a little. 10 years, Griffin. 10 years of me thinking you were barely getting by, sketching in that damn notebook, driving that piece of junk truck. And you're, what? A CEO? A millionaire? You let me believe. She stops, shakes her head, and I can see the hurt flashing in her eyes, mixed with something hotter, angrier. I lean forward, resting my elbows on the desk. "I let you believe what you wanted to," I say, "and it comes out harder than I mean it to. You, your dad, Corinne, Blake, all of you. You decided who I was the day I walked in with paint on my jeans. I just didn't correct you." She stares at me, her jaw tight, and takes a step closer. "That's not fair," she says. "I was your wife. I am your wife. You didn't trust me enough to tell me this?" Her hand gestures around the room, taking in the clean lines, the tech humming in the background, the empire I built behind her back. I stand up, moving around the desk to face her, close enough to see the way her eyes glisten, like she's holding something back. "It wasn't about trust," I say, softer now. "It was about surviving. You don't know what it was like, Tessa. Every dinner, every reunion, every time I walked into that house. Corinne laughing in my face, Blake offering me pity jobs, your dad looking at me like I was dirt under his shoe. And you never stopped them." Her breath catches, and she looks away, down at the floor. "I didn't," she starts, then stops, her hands dropping to her sides. "I didn't know it hurt you that much." I laugh, short and bitter, running a hand through my hair. "How could it not? 10 years of being the joke, the guy who dragged you down. You think I wanted to live like that? I built this." I wave at the office, the walls, the view, to get out, to prove I wasn't what they thought. "And yeah, I kept it from you. Because every time I tried to show you something real, you looked at me like they did, like I was dreaming too big." She flinches, and I feel a pang of guilt, but it's true, and I'm tired of holding it in. "I asked you once," she says, her voice quieter now, "years ago, why we couldn't move, why we stayed in that little house. You said art didn't pay. I believed you." I nod, remembering that night, her sitting at the kitchen table, me dodging her eyes. "It didn't, back then," I say. "Not at first. But it grew, and I kept it quiet. I didn't want them to know, not until I had something they couldn't touch." She looks up at me, her eyes searching mine. "And me? Did you want me to know?" I hesitate, the question hanging heavy between us. "I wanted you to see me," I say finally. "But you never looked." The silence stretches out, thick and raw, and she steps back, leaning against the wall like she needs the support. "I see you now," she says, almost a whisper. This is incredible, Griff. But it's you I don't know anymore." Her words hit hard, and I don't know what to say. She's right, I've changed, or maybe I've just stopped pretending. I'm still me, I tell her, stepping closer. The guy who loves you, who wanted to build something for us. But I couldn't do it their way. She nods, slow, and I can see the wheels turning, the pieces clicking into place. "What happens now?" she asks, and I don't have an easy answer. I take a breath, looking around the office, at the life I've kept from her, the one she's finally seeing. "We talk," I say. "Really talk. Figure out what's left." She nods again, and this time, she sits down, her coat pooling around her. "Okay," she says, simple and steady. "Let's talk." I sit too, across from her, and for the first time in years, it feels like we're starting over. The reckoning's here, not just for them, but for us. And whatever comes next, at least she finally sees me. I'm standing in the dining room of the Halbert estate, the same place where they've mocked me for years, but tonight, it feels different, quieter, heavier, like the air's holding its breath. My name's Griffin Rowe, and just yesterday, I flipped their world on its head. I walked into their boardroom as the CEO of Neon Canvas Studios and told them I'd taken Halbert Dynamics, their family legacy, right out from under them. The charcoal suit's gone, swapped for a plain sweater and jeans, but I don't feel like the old Griffin they knew either. Tonight's the family dinner, the first since the reveal, and I'm here with Tessa by my side, her hand brushing mine as we step in. The table's set, the chandelier glowing soft overhead, and they're all here, Walter, Corinne, Blake, watching me like I'm a stranger who just walked into their house. For once, the ridicule's gone, replaced by something new, respect, or maybe just caution. Either way, I'm not hiding anymore. The room's quieter than usual, no loud laughs, no clinking glasses cutting through the air. Walter's at the head of the table, his gray hair messier than I've ever seen it, his scotch sitting untouched in front of him. Corinne's next to Sterling, her blonde hair pulled back tight, her eyes flicking to me every few seconds like she's waiting for something. Blake's across from them, slouched a little, his tie loose, still looking like he's trying to figure out how I pulled this off. Tessa sits beside me, her chair closer than it's been in years, and I can feel her warmth, her presence steadying me. The food's on the table, roast chicken, potatoes, some fancy salad no one's touching, but it's not about eating tonight. It's about this moment, this shift, and what I say next. I stand up, glass of water in my hand, and clear my throat. They all look up, their eyes locking on me, and I feel the weight of it, the years, the lies, the victory. "I want to make a toast," I say, my voice steady, louder than it used to be in this room. To old stories ending and new ones beginning. To seeing people for who they are, not who we assume they'll always be.